initiative. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. So I'll start with a quick overview of
Jeanette, the
marriage.
speakers already are there. Jeanette, speakers are there already. Today's speakers are in. I'm not seeing in panel.
I'll check, sir, in the attendees list.
No. You shift to panel, no.
They're in the attendees also, sir.
No, you need to shift to panel, no. You take them into panel, no.
I'm looking, sir.
Okay, Iyer sir is here. Okay, Jeanette, you go ahead. Iyer sir is there. I'm seeing. Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, good morning, sir. Iyer sir, good morning, sir. Yeah, Jeanette, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So I'll start by giving a quick overview of Managed CIA, Center for Innovation and Agripreneurship, which is a center of excellence in agribusiness incubation at National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management. It is one of the leading agribusiness incubators in India, and till date, they have hosted more than 300 startups in various focus areas. Coming to the topic of today's session, which is sales and revenue generation strategies for every startup. We all understand that a startup always can't be in the startup phase. They need to start making revenue that will make them commercially operational as well as fetch them profits enough to sustain their business. But in order to do so, in order to effectively generate revenue, a startup needs to convert their marketing efforts into revenue, and they need to know what strategy is best suiting them, what kind of strategies they need, marketing efforts they need to make, how to position their product, what kind of value addition they need to do to their product so that they're able to have good revenue. And with that in mind, we are hosting today's session on sales and revenue generation strategies for Agri-Startups. And with those initial introduction, I would now request Director of Agriculture Extension, Dr. Ravichandra Raju, to put forth his view on today's session.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Jeanette, and a very good morning to all of you. I welcome all of you for this webinar, and thank you very much for joining continuously in Manage webinars. And I also welcome today's speakers. Professor Iyer is there with us, one of the very renowned expert in startups, and he is known for his work in multinational companies, and also he is very much part of our Manage Incubation Center. He is very much supportive for all our efforts, and he is continuously with us last 3 years he is with us, and continuously is guiding our startups and Manage Incubation Center. Sir, we welcome you to this webinar, sir, on behalf of entire Manage family and Manage Center for Innovation and Agripreneurship. And also I welcome Mr. Dawal, one of our incubatee, and also Dr. Ravichandra Raju. All three speakers I welcome. And for the information of Professor Iyer, sir, every Saturday we are having, and sometimes passing reference we made to you, every Saturday we are having webinars about agri-startup ecosystem. Large number of ecosystem partners are coming, including startups and investors, like that. All the speakers, mentors, like that, all are coming and talking. And every day, few hundred of them, they are joining, sir. Every Saturday we are doing last almost 4 or 5 months we are doing continuously. This whole year we are going to do this Saturday webinar series, and today we are happy you are joining with us, and we need to hear from you, sir. And with this, I request our Kausika, Ms. Jeanette, to introduce the speakers to all the participants. Thank you very much. Sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the opening remarks. I'll quickly introduce the speakers. So we have 3 speakers today. Our first speaker is Dr. K.V. Iyer. Dr. Iyer holds a degree in mechanical engineering from Borne University and a postgraduate diploma in management from IIAM in Ahmedabad. Presently serving with the history faculty at NORM, and he's also consultant to some of the agribusiness companies.
Jeanette, can you keep your mic a little closer and voice is little less, better? Yeah. Little louder okay. You can, yeah.
Is it fine now?
Yeah, now it's fine, yeah.
Okay, so I was saying, Dr. Iyer has been a consultant to few of the agribusiness companies in North India, and he has over 40 years of experience in the corporate world, having worked for large Indian family businesses and MNCs in the area of marketing, HR, strategic planning, and general management. Mr. Iyer has also been involved with academics, both at teaching and administrative level. The second speaker for the day is Mr. Dhaval K. Popat, and as Sarvan sir rightly mentioned, he has been one of the incubatees. Dhaval K. Popat is the founder of JDP Foods, and he holds a degree in mechanical engineering. He has previously worked as a product engineer at Triangle Norton Limited. Mr. Dhaval always inspired to be an entrepreneur, and he wanted to promote farmers' income, which gave birth to his enterprise JDP Foods. And if I'm correct, his startup is a very interesting story of how it came into being. It was him tasting some ragi biscuits back in Bangalore, and that made him think, okay, this biscuit is not that yummy, and he can actually make it much more palatable to the taste buds. And that is what gave birth to his startup. And the third speaker for the day is Dr. Ravichandra Raju. Dr. Raju holds a master's degree in social work from Tata Institute of Social Sciences and a PhD in psychology from Osmania University. He's worked with grassroots organizations and under CSR initiatives on programs concerning social impact on society. He's also experienced in large-scale project management with the government of Andhra Pradesh Poverty Reduction Program as health and livelihood manager. So these are the speakers for today, and the reason I have introduced them in one go is so that there is no disturbance in flow of the session. And now I would request the first speaker, Dr. K.V. Iyer, to share his presentation and take forward the session.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Sarvanan and the entire management crew of Manage. It's a great pleasure to be with you. And before I start, could I request Kaushik or somebody to please load the presentation?
Sure, sir.
Yeah. First of all, again, I welcome all of you on behalf of Manage and on behalf of myself for this very interesting session on sales and revenue strategies for the Agri-Startups. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So for the Agri-Startups who are present today in this webinar, after years and years of hard work, your idea has finally been captured as a project, as a product, as a viable project, if I can add. And the proof of this being your first customer or your first sales order. It itself means that there is an endorsement of your project, that your project is on the right track because you got the first sales customer and the sales revenue. So before we go into today's topic in some detail, and I'm sure my co-panelists, both Mr. Popat and Dr. Raju, would be adding to what I say, before we talk about the sales and revenue generation strategies, I thought it would be right to set the context of today's discussion. Every agri startup and all of you start with an idea, start with a dream, which over a period of time, through your hard work and other activities, you nurture into a commercial venture. Next slide, please. So this is what I'm going to discuss. We'll talk about the strategies as we go by around the last 10-20 minutes of my talk. Before that, I want to emphasize the importance of marketing at the very, very preliminary idea stage. I also want to emphasize the issue of data-driven decisions. I'm saying all this from my own experience. I have been evaluating projects, agri-startup projects, certainly with Manage and other institutes for the last many years. I must have evaluated about close to 300, 400 over the last 4-5 years. And one or two common threads which I want to share is the issue of marketing. Now, before I dive into this, could you please put on the next slide? So, what is the main success factor of your project? For the sake of simplicity, I'm dividing it into two. The controllable factors, technology you can control, people you can control, finance you can control, you can get bank loans. This is all relative. I'm just making it clear that they're all relative. The most important uncontrollable factor is marketing and sales. And why I said from my experience of evaluating agri startups at the idea stage, at a stage where they are able to go up, the one thing that I find is not much emphasis is given to sales and marketing. You've got to have the idea of sales and marketing embedded in your idea stage itself. And this is unfortunately not been happening. In many, they have brilliant ideas. Dr. Saravanan would bear with me through Manage and through other institute, some fantastic ideas we have come out with. But at some point of time, either because they are not very familiar with the issues of marketing, or they don't want to do it, the marketing, or there's so much of technology they get involved that they do not emphasize enough on marketing. And marketing therefore becomes an afterthought. You suddenly have the project and then say, okay, let's look for sales and marketing. Unfortunately, this is the truth. And why we are not able to get into marketing is very simple to understand. You may not have the competencies, agreed. And there are enough and more competent people, competent team you can build. So what we normally do as human beings is once we are not very comfortable with the situation, we go to the situation which we are most comfortable with. Maybe technology, maybe finance, maybe building a team. And marketing, we hope for the best. Unfortunately, this cannot go on. And as my next slide will say, what are the reasons for agri startup failing? Top reasons why agri startup fail. Doesn't require any great intuition. No market need. 42% surveyed said there is no market need. Poor marketing, ignores customer. Now, if you do all this, or if you do not do all this, how are you going to generate sales? How are you going to generate revenue? So my first and important observation that I want to share is that please at the stage of idea itself, discuss about marketing. You may not have all the information, but talk to mentors, talk to people, jot down their idea, and the marketing will evolve as you evolve. But not giving any attention to marketing is suicidal. That is what this slide shows, that reasons why startups fail. It's not because we don't have enough ideas. There are brilliant Indian jugaad people who convert their ideas into commercial projects. The finance is now available with all the governmental help, mentoring system available through institutes like Manage, which has been doing great service, not only in the area of extension, which is initially was known, but now in the ecosystem of agri startups. So why not take advantage of all this and hone your marketing skills? This means the marketing skills mean you have to do deep research. And I have found that this research cannot be subcontracted. You have to do it yourself. What does that mean in our language? Meet the farmers. Spend time with the farmers. Understand what the problem you are solving. Many technology, and it's a welcome move that a lot of agri technologies are coming up. Beautiful apps. My first question to all of them is, have you discussed this with the farming community? Have you spent some time with the farmer? They have traditional inbuilt knowledge. Marry that with your technology to the benefit of the farmer. Okay, so this is what I wanted to emphasize, that people are not paying enough attention to marketing, with the result that at some point of time, your project starts failing. Next slide, please. This is the startup development phase. Pre-startup, startup, and at each stage, if you read, there is an element of marketing and commercial possibilities. At the idea stage, what does it say? Potential scalable products, services, idea for big enough, target market, some initial revenue models. Start. You may not have all the answers, but start. How will I make money? Will the customer pay? Will he be happy with the service? Who are my competitors? Start looking at from the pre-stage idea level. As a matter of fact, when we are evaluating through Manage and other Raftar schemes, one of the guidelines we are given among many is, please jury, please panelists, ensure that there is a possibility of commercializing the project. If the answer is no, however other things are there, it will not be eligible for our funding. So commercial has to be inbuilt. And what does commercial mean? Sales revenue. And this is what I call uncontrollable. We cannot control the market. All other things I can control to some extent. Marketing and market is made of people. Consumer behavior is different. So what it means, do a deep research through technology. Harness the power of the cloud computing. Harness the power of all what is available. Get into deep data. That was what my next observation is, data management. People talk about, yes, the market is good. I think we will grow well. I mean, facts nobody can dispute. Data nobody can dispute, irrefutable. So don't get into biases, gut feel, intuition, all can come later. Get the data on the ground. And how do you get that data? Through interacting with the farmer, spending time with the farmer. You know, I was working in Coromandel long back, and Coromandel has a beautiful product, fertilizer called Gromo 2020. It was selling and it is selling like hotcakes, one of the first major branded fertilizer. So as sales, it was not much of a problem. It was more distribution. So but we had forecast that this situation cannot be sustainable, that you are in a monopoly situation for this. So all my sales staff would go 80 kilometers from Hyderabad to whatever little village and come back the same day. So one of the things that we instituted is, whenever salesperson goes for 60 or 70 kilometers from his headquarters, he must spend the night in the farm, in the farming, in the village. But sir, he is already going to buy. I say, I don't care. You have to spend time with the farmer, see how they do business, what are their likes, what are their dislikes, how they are doing farming. And this sort of a thing that we instituted some 20, 30 years back has come into good stead now, through the application of this Mana Gromo retail shops that we have. Anyway, that's a different story. What I'm trying to emphasize is, spend time with the farmer. You may not have the domain knowledge, get people with the domain knowledge, be it agriculture, be it marketing. Okay. So at each stage, as you get to startup to growth stage, the issue of marketing, how sales are going to be generated, has to be inbuilt. It cannot be that, oh, I got the project, now let's see how I do sales. It will not work. It has to work parallelly, along with your project, along with your idea, how customers are going to pay. Okay. Next slide, please. So this, therefore, starts with the marketing plan. This is a very simple plan. First, do your research about what is happening in the environment. Then your marketing and sales strategy, from meeting the farmer, doing market research, actually doing an action plan. So this is a virtuous triangle. But very unfortunately, none of the agri-startups, or very few of the agri-startups, get into this. Why? Because this is the black box. You know, you don't know the answers. How do you get the answer? Be there in the farm. Talk to the farmers. Talk to the FPOs. Talk to people concerned. Get into talking to people in Manage. Get your mentors to help you. And slowly build your database. Next. So this marketing plan would help you answer the 5 questions. What is unique about your market? Listen, one thing we must remember, whatever problems you are going to solve for a farmer, he's already having, or he's already utilizing certain things. So what is your first step? Your first step is to prove the uniqueness of your product. You must make the farmer unhappy with what he is doing existing, and then make your project. So cost benefit. How are you going to be beneficial? Then who are your target market? We are talking about farmers as a general, but within the farming community, you need to segment. Are you going to go for the small and marginal farmers who constitute 70 to 80%, or you're going crop wise, or you're going for large farmers, or you're going through the FPO route? Who is your target buyer? What geography? Remember, competition is there all the time for every product. So who are your first 2 or 3 main competitors? And when you come out with some product or services, what is your positioning? What is the message you want to communicate? And finally, which starts the revenue clicking, is your strategy. Are you going to distribute to the e-commerce route? Are you going to be brick and mortar? Are you going to through direct mailing? Whatever it is. So all these 5 questions you need to answer with, supported with data, hard data. Next slide, please. Data is the heart of decision making. And many of you who are starting your idea projects, please get into the habit of data. Nobody can argue with data. I had my ex-chairman of the Murugappa group, whom I was working with. And in many of the board meetings, you know what he will say? In God I trust, all others must have data. This is in board meetings. You cannot say, sir, we are growing in a very good market. Our things are, looking up. Our advertisement is doing very well. All these are personal biases. Get data to support. Using data helps to focus. And more companies are using this data management system. I call it the DDM, data-driven system. First thing is, what problem are you trying to solve? For that itself requires a lot of data. I'll give you a few examples of case studies that I was involved with. Then once you have identified the problem, go and meet the farming community. Test your idea. And I have been a big proponent of co-creating a solution with the farmer. Involve him. Be it development of apps, be it coming out with some novel project which will helping the farming community, take him on board. A joint co-created solution, easy to develop further. Okay. And then of course, organizing the whole data management is a science. Big data is one of the topics. It's a topic by itself, but get into the habit of collecting data. There are enough and more resources on the net. There are technology people who can help you use data through cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and what have you. But with data, you will be far more focused on all the aspects of marketing we talked about, be it finding out your USP, finding out your target customer, and ultimately developing a revenue sales strategy. Next. Okay. So sales and revenue are the ultimate final outcome of a well thought of marketing or a business plan, isn't it? Nobody, even whatever idea you have, you must be having some fleeting idea of who's going to buy my product, what is the price they will be paying. All this is available in you. All I am requesting is put it down in a piece of paper and start collecting data on that. Nobody does these days comes out with a project. And certainly when I talk about the VC's perspective, one of the things the venture capitalist strongly does is looking at how his revenue model is going to pan out. So as I said, sales and data are the final outcome of a well-produced marketing plan. Now there are various models. It all depends on what business you are in, right? It depends on the business, whether it is a product related or a service related. But some of the popular ones that we've been involved is the subscription based model. And this is where the technology people come in. They develop apps with a software. So software as a service, and for this software to be used on the smartphones, they charge you a subscription. It could be per month or over a period of time. And for that subscription, what are the benefits that particular software will give you? Unfortunately, there are many such models available in India. Many startup which connects the farming community with the end customer to the supply chain, all that we are still, it is work in progress as far as I can see. Because you need a critical mass to make it a successful rollout model. But yes, people have started looking at it, but it will take some time for it to break even. So subscription model is a very, very extremely fine model for revenue generation. So if you have an apps, if you have a proprietary software, you could use it. Technology will help you to do that. The other sales revenue model is the standard rental model. And this is very popular when people come out with not only the conventional farm implements, but new farm implements, which is labor saving device. Many companies, forget about Agri-Startups, many companies have also started renting out because they want to give the whole gambit of service to a farmer. So rental model could be one. Pay as you use. These are spraying services, for example, pesticide spraying. You want it for a particular season, you use it for a couple of hours. Drone, use of drone is very popular. So this is another model for revenue generation. As I said, this would be very useful when you are in the service business. We had an extremely good project. Maharashtra, Kolhapur is the heartbelt of Jaggery. Now, this gentleman found out one of the pain in the farming community are the small farmer ability to produce Jaggery. So he came out with a mobile Jaggery unit, tractor mounted. You'll go from farmer to farmer, in situ for 3-4 hours, make Jaggery and charge them. Now, this is the pay-as-you-use model. If we rent it for 2 hours, he'll say, yes, I'll produce you so much of Jaggery, you pay me so much. So he's working out on various things, either buy back the Jaggery or pay in cash from the small farmer. But it's a big boon. The small farmer do not have to invest. The other is the commission one. You are a commission agent or a commission person for a lot of these agri inputs. And the most successful company which has developed an app on this is a company called Agrostar. Agrostar. It is also commonly called the Flipkart for the farmers. And how does it work? This gentleman or the group of people started this 3 years back or 4 years, and they started off first finding out what is the problem they want to solve for the rural farmer. And what was the problem they identified? Some very quick ones I can think about is small farmers, marginal farmers in the hinterland of our country, non-availability of fertilizer. And this is definitely a problem. When they want fertilizer or they want, and they buy it in small quantities, 1 or 2 bags, which the dealer probably may not be useful to them. Non-availability of fertilizer, non-availability of seeds, pesticides. And even if they are available, so-called black marketing, high prices. Adulteration, we don't know. The small farmer doesn't know whether it's a genuine product. And more importantly, it does not have any recourse to good, intelligent information. So this was the pain the small farmers had, and Agrostar through its app. First, it started with a missed call. All the farmer needed was give a missed call, and the company representative would go, find out what is the problem, solve it. And they were starting distributing agri products, agri inputs. They are now distributing something like 1,000 products. They have also developed an app. So you can use an app or you can use a missed call, and they get commission from the manufacturers. Because for the manufacturer, they are one more avenue. And most interestingly, how they go to the rural is one of the case studies of logistics success in India. They use the Indian Postal Department. You know, India Post is one of the best organized rural logistics company. And they saw the value of the post office in a small town and used for parcel service. So they got commission, and they are now growing into, they got about 50,000 farmers already, and they are primarily into Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, but they have plans for others. And the other model, of course, is the franchisee model. Once you have developed your standard operating procedures, you want to expand geographically, finance is an issue, You franchise it. And this is a model that is very, very successful in most of the companies we have seen in the eating the Subway and KFCs and things like that. Slowly it will come into the agri-business also. Okay. A word on data. Why I'm emphasizing on data is you all heard of Netflix, right? Every house probably has a Netflix. But how did they start? They were years back a DVD sharing company. They will give you DVD on sort of a rent. Then through data mining, they found out what the customer wanted, what are the preferences, what sort of a movie, and used the power of the internet and got into internet streaming. Amazon, we all are familiar with Amazon. Jeff Bezos started off as a bookstore 10, 12 years back, losses after losses. Then through data, he found out what people want. And today he is probably the largest stockist of anything and everything in the world. Similarly, this Agrostars, they use data to find out the solution. How are their products going to be? Everything through data, nobody can refute. There is no gut feel. Another company is E3 Agro Services. One of the issues of small and marginal farmer is they have to go for different agencies. Tractor hiring, seed company, spray company. So this guy said, I will give everything to you. You leave it to me and pay by acre. How did he stumble upon this idea? Through data, hardcore data he collected. What are the pain points of this farmer? How can he solve it? So I don't want to overemphasize, but you should start with data. And that is the starting point of your revenue generation. It can be any. All this can be utilized depending on your business. If you're a service company, subscription model will work. Pay as you use if you're a spraying company. Commission if you're distributing agri inputs. Okay. So this would, by and large, I'm sure my colleagues, both Dr. Raju and Mr. Popat, will add on to some of the outcomes of how sales revenue can be generated. Before I close, just one more couple of slides are there. Please, can you flip the next slide? This is from a VC investor. The problem is that startups fall in love with their solution. They don't focus enough in early issues of vision, strategy, and marketing. This is what I was emphasized on. Something good looks, so they get excited. Technology, and rightly they should be, but please look into a commercial venture if you want to be. Somebody somewhere has to buy that product. And that can only come through an emphasis on marketing and sales issue. And marketing and sales issue you can only get into when you get into deep research with the data. Okay, next. This is a VC's perspective, venture capitalists. I talked about many of you who are here today in this seminar would be potential agri-startups who are looking for finance. 4 or 5 issues the VCs look at. Predictability of your revenues. Can this generate year on year, month on month revenue? Has he a sales plan? A rigorous, solid sales plan, is it in place? Can the operation be sustained through making it profitable? And last is the de-risking. Every project, however smart you are, there is a component of risk. Have you looked at the risk? And how are you mitigating the risk? And of course, scalability. These are the 4 or 5 issues. But on top of all this is the revenue stream. Can I predict revenue? And it can be only predicted if you have a robust sales plan which starts at your idea stage itself. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, this is my last slide. It's an entrepreneur's journey. He starts with an idea, very difficult to find customer. Then an investor comes in, then he gets his first customer. So this I have just summed up in a very joking manner as to the emotions that an entrepreneur goes through. So thank you very much, friends. It was nice talking to you. I hope I had been able to give you some issues about how to develop your sales and revenue strategy, which according to me starts from base one. That is your idea stage. I'm sure, as I said, my colleagues will add on to some of these issues that we talked about. And for all those people who are with us in this seminar, who are in the agri system, agri ecosystem, whether you are a startup or a student or a teacher or a trainer, please continue your involvement. Agri to our country is very, very critical, not only for the farmers, but to us as Indians to make agri GDP growth. And once that growth happens, we can truly call ourselves a developing country or a developed country. Thank you very much. I look forward to interactions as we go forward in the seminar. Thank you very much and have a nice day and God bless to all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that very insightful presentation and for underlining the fact that startup needs to focus on the marketing aspect right from the idea stage and throwing light on the importance of data-driven analysis. We will have interaction post all the speakers are done with the presentation.
Yeah, we can do that.
Sorry for interruption, sir. Do you want to go for a Q&A, sir?
I beg your pardon?
Do you want to go for Q&A here right now, sir?
No,
or in the end?
what my suggestion is, and Dr. Saravanan and you can debate on that. Let us finish off with Dr. Raju and Popat because we'll have some common threads. So, and then we can probably note down the
Right,
questions and then reply. Okay. I mean, this is my suggestion.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. We'll go like that, sir. We'll go with the second speaker in that case.
Who's the second speaker, Dr. Ravichandra Raju, to share his presentation and
Yeah, I'm checking on.
Continuously very low. Kindly see that your mic is very close to you, and Kaushik, you take it up otherwise. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sorry for the inconvenience. I'm just checking with the second speaker. Just a minute.
Kaushik, next speaker is ready, or what about next speaker? Popat is there, no? Mr. Kaushik?
Actually, Dhaval wants to go for third, sir. So Dr. Ravichandra Raju is joining in a minute, sir.
Meanwhile, one specific question can be taken, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
So, agri input industry is a integral part of agriculture ecosystem. So, most of the agri input industry runs on credit.
Yes.
Any marketing strategies how to overcome this credit issue? So many a times they could not get payments on time. They need to be after the group of farmers. Any strategies because you came from that background, your experiences? Can you share, sir, related to that?
Okay. See, one thing, there is no magic bullet for this credit issue. Credit is perpetually inbuilt in the system. So what is happening conventionally, the dealer used to give credit. You know, when it was through a dealer sale, the dealer will give it to a credit to the farmer because a dealer has a lot of many other interaction. agri input is one. He will also probably give them loan. Now, what Agrostar is trying to do is Agrostar are going to the small farmer who buys 1 or 2 bags. And for this, I don't think there is any system Agrostar has developed for credit. It is all cash payment. The credit system largely is on big farmers or farmers who buy a larger amount, where the dealer himself is getting credit. The customer, I mean the manufacturers, like for example, I'm from Coromandel. Coromandel very seldom gives credit to the dealer. You followed? So it's the dealer who gives the credit to the ultimate customer, because the dealer has many such interactions with the customer, with the farmer, in terms of not only agri inputs, in terms of other inputs, in terms of loan, things like that. So manufacturers seldom give credit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that insight. On this note, we welcome Dr. Ravichandra Raju for our next speaker. Sir, over to you, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, you, and good morning, everyone.
You went on mute, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Am I audible now, you?
Yes,
All
sir.
good, sir. Please.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. So, good morning, everyone. And so I believe my session has been slightly brought to the second row in the queue. And thanks to the managed team for facilitating this particular session. And may I know how many are present at this point of time? Kaushik, or you?
One has presented, sir. You are the second speaker, sir.
Okay, I'm
168,
the
sir.
second speaker.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
altogether the number of participants are 168. Okay, okay. So particularly yesterday, Yuvaraj had requested that I straight away move to the presentation, and we may not have space for one-on-one or possibly one-to group interaction. So let me straight away move to the theme that has been given to me. I'm sure Mr. Iyer would have talked about it elaborately in terms of setting the context. And I would like to particularly, Kaushik, can you just quickly open the presentation, please? The
Sure,
PPT that I have just sent it across to
Sure,
you.
sir. In the meanwhile, you can start, sir. I'll share, sir.
Yeah. I would like to call upon the attention of everyone here. I believe a large chunk of the startup champions around have gone through the previous sessions. I would also like to believe some of you have possibly heard me, interacted with me, and with that kind of an assumption, I would like to reflect on two issues, particularly before we even venture into talking about the revenue windows or even the attention that we all tend to provide. I would like to rephrase the entire focus on the business development, the early business development phase for any agri startups. And the reason why I'm trying to put this across is to set the context. Can we go to the first slide, Kaushik? I would like to understand, except for the faculty, except for the resource persons here, I would like to believe almost 100% of our 168 participants are focusing upon some of each of these, or 1 plus 2 plus 3, or 1 plus 2, or 2 or 3. We have enterprises possibly built around farm level. We're talking about people who are exploring innovative and creative stuff around the way the farm produce is being produced. It could be bringing in better ways of doing it, better approaches to farming, better approaches to bringing farmers together, bringing in cooperative models, bringing in large chunk of technology which is happening all over the world. And also possibly bringing an element of the logistics into the first layer. The second layer is around the market yard or the processor level. Wherever the process is happening, it could be closest to the farm to possibly the local yard that we are talking about. So the essential elements are around aggregation, sorting, grading, and possibly little above the value chain here around even packaging and stuff like that. And the most critical, the phase is around the customer level. The customer could be the business, the customer could be the individual customer. It could be issues around quality, it could be issues around pricing, it could be bringing on board some of the the updated technologies around, making sure our products and services go to the doorstep of the customers. So I would like to believe almost all our startups, all our enterprises are focusing upon either of these three, or one or two or three. This is something which I would like to set in context, because I would not like to talk about the ways of building revenues, essentially because we all need to focus our attention to where we are at this point of time. Are we at the first level, or the second level, or the third level? Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So the most important, when Yuvraj and the team from Manage talked to me, couple of observations I wanted to make here, especially from my observations from my earlier interactions with the startup champions. Most often, most of the participants have not figured out who their target customers are. When I had even circulated, I have got data of about little over 600 people, 600 startup champions. Possibly some of the participants would have come back and then attended some of these sessions. They were, when I asked them about who their primary customer are, they would give me a list of 3 or 4 segments. Are we talking about farmers? Are we talking about farmers groups? Are we talking about cooperatives of farmers? Or are we talking about the families of farmers? Who are we talking about? If we were to determine the sales strategy, or even focusing upon the revenue window here, it's very, very important for us to understand, focus our attention on, are we clear about who our customers are? And I realized most often, most of us are not very sure. If we were to give an order in terms of a long list of potential customers, even I would end up giving about 10 clusters of customers. And if you were to ask me, because I'm also in the early phase of building our own enterprise at this point of time, and it's but natural to talk about several other prospective customers instead of talking about who is my primary customer. This is one aspect I want to bring to everybody's attention here. Please remember, it's extremely pertinent and extremely important for you to determine who your primary customer is. If you are unable to pinpoint and then say, so and so is my primary customer, please go back to a couple of slides. Kaushik, can you please take the slide to the last two slides, please? Last but one, yeah. This is the slide that I had tried bringing back into this session. This is the slide that I had used almost an year and a half before. I usually talk about the 2 arrows. If we were to determine figuring out who our customers are, first of all, we need to answer to the question, who are our customers, and understand what their pain points are. And some of you may believe you all have crossed this value chain of figuring out and exploring. You have decided, and then you know who your primary customers are. But half of the participants in my previous sessions, we realized they too prematurely venture into exploring other questions before determining who our customers are and defining who the primary customer is. After that, the most critical point is figuring out the pain point. If we have not answered the pain point, if we have not described the pain point of our potential customer, the primary customer, I believe we have no business even talking about going to the next sessions. Because we all believe, as entrepreneurs, as startup champions here, we are here to respond to the pain points of our customers with the given services which are already there in the market, the services which they are looking forward to from the new entrepreneurs, from the services which are there, however, they're all scattered across various pieces. So they are looking forward to your service or your product, hoping that you will remedy their pain point. You will remedy their situation, their current situation. So it's important for us to understand these 2 arrows. Let me please take you all to the 4 arrows that I usually talk about. And then again, I want to go back to the presentation. Kaushik, can we go to the next slide, please? The typical 4 arrows that I have always talked about are these. Once basing upon our determination of who our customers are, who our primary customers are. I'm not even talking about the secondary and tertiary customers here. The other ancillary products and services which we would like to, we would desire and then make more money. I would like you all to figure out the primary customer and their pain points, and then the solution that you have brought on table through your enterprise. Please determine what the benefits that you have on offer. And then the second, most importantly, are you able to reduce the cost of the customer? If the customer is spending probably exorbitant amount of money to take that particular service or to receive that particular product, is your solution which is being provided, which is being offered, is it less than the other, the most important piece? And does it provide additional benefits which the other products in the market won't be able to provide? And the most important piece, the third arrow, which I have put is upwards, is the, apart from the reduced cost, is the customer able to save upon, plus do they feel good about your product or services? It's very important for you to also explore the psychological comfort, the psychological benefit the customer is expected to derive from your product or service. It's very important for you people to remember that. And finally, is your current solution, does it deal with the potential competition which exists in the market? And I'm not going to deal with each of these things in elaborate fashion, but I would like to believe most of you would have gone through the process of building upon the value chain to hit the market before even trying to define who your market is, what your market is. I would like you all to look at these 6 arrows that I have just presented to you all, and then figure out and reevaluate your offering, which is ready, which you believe which is ready in front of you, and evaluate against each of these arrows. Yeah, Kaushik, can we go back to the third slide, please, now? The next slide, please. Next one. Yeah, very importantly, typically, by definition, we are talking about, when we talk about market, why I don't want to talk about the sales pitch here, the revenue windows specifically, because in my previous slide, I have talked about those 3 segments where most of the entrepreneurs or all the entrepreneurs who are part of this particular session, they may be focusing upon 1 or 2 or 3. So once you figure out each of that, then you are able to pinpoint on the 6 arrows and then figure out what your solution offers to the customer. So it's very important for you to be very clear about, extremely be clear about your solution providing and responding to the specific need of your customer. Once you are able to do that, that's exactly where fundamentally you're able to look at an opportunity to gain little bit of a footage into your customer, which means the customer is willing to invest by purchasing your product, by buying in your commitment to respond to his own requirement, his own need. That's important. So please deepen your understanding of your target customer to be able to derive their true attributes. If you do not figure out the attributes of your customer, you won't be able to figure out the sales pitch, you won't be able to figure out your communication pitch, you won't be able to build the most popular, the social media campaign that we are all talking about. Once you are able to figure out the attribute of your customer and their requirement, I think there remains the true attribute of your sales pitch. This is something which you all need to be very clear about. Please remember, before opening up a revenue window, you need to determine who your customer is, you need to determine the profile of your solution, the product or the service, and then finally build a tree, something like a tree, something like a problem tree, the way you build a problem tree, similar to a problem tree. Please build a solution tree around. Through each of the branches of that particular tree, you get an opportunity for building your revenues. The day one of your revenue earning depends upon how beautifully you're able to build your solution tree. So this is an important piece I just want to talk about. Yeah, can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. It's very important for us to figure out where we are at this particular point of time. setting a goal. Usually, we're all taught by our teachers, we're all taught by our mentors around, we're all taught by some of the best mentors around in the ecosystem. Figuring out what is our immediate goal, figuring out what is our intermediate goal, figuring out sometimes our long-term goal. And most often, people don't even talk about long-term goals these days. So we're only talking about immediate goals. If we were to figure out where we stand today, if we were to figure out where we stand at this point of time, if you can draw a little value chain of your own analysis of what was that, who are your customers, what was that particular problem he or she was encountering, and what was the solution that you have built, and what is the problem tree that you have built, and what is the solution tree that you have built around the problem tree. Each of these, I mean, if you build a little scale, call it as a value chain. Once you figure out where you stand, are you here figuring out a solution, or you have already figured out a solution which you want to call it as a tentative solution? If you are here, this is where you need to correctly place yourself, position yourself, and probably take your service or product to your customer. And when I talk about the customer, I'm not even talking about 1,000 customers here. I'm talking about your initial first, the 5 customers or the 10 customers, are probably about 100 customers, not beyond it. So figuring out where you stand at this point of time in your value chain of your business growth becomes extremely critical, extremely critical. Please remember that. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. And most often, we're all taught to look at our business plans, and we're all taught to come out with each piece of our business plan. And it gets cluttered because we have too many things to achieve at a phase where you are at this point of time. If you're at an advanced stage of your enterprise building, possibly I would like to believe very few of you are possibly at that particular stage who are attending this particular session. From the brief that I have, I would like to believe most of the participants who are here today are in their initial days of our enterprise building. Yeah, I mean, I can see some friends asking for using a case study to explain. Otherwise, it becomes theoretical. Yeah, I totally understand, Dr. Ghosh. I'll pick up a case study. And Kaushik, is there a quickly?
Yes, sir. Tell me.
Okay. Yeah, is there a way to quickly do a poll, please?
I'll check, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you go to the first slide? Can you go to the first slide, please? Yeah. Can you hold on here? Can you hold on here? Can I ask all the participants to quickly put 1, 2, or 3? Just open a poll asking our participants to tell us, are they at the first level? Is their enterprise built around the form? Is their enterprise built around the market? Is their enterprise built around closest to the customer? Where are they at this point of time? 1, 2, and 3. Can you quickly do a poll? If we can do this in about next 60 seconds.
Yuvraj sir, can you check on the poll from your side?
Host can do it. Host can do it. Please make me host. I will do that. Meanwhile, you can share the presentation.
Okay, sir.
The slide should be visible to the startup so that they will
Very
know
important.
the 1, 2, 3 options.
Yes, correct. Yeah, the question I'm asking all the participants is, where are we? Who are we? Not where, who are we? Are we working around assisting and helping the farmers? Have we determined our customers are a prospective clientele, our prospective customers are farmers? Can you go to the next slide, Kaushik? As Yuvraj mentioned, I think that slide needs to be in front of everyone. Yeah, please look at this particular slide. I want all the participants to tell the group here, is your enterprise built around the farm level? Are you involved in enhancing productivity? If you're involved in building incomes of the farmers, making sure the quality, the output is better and of high quality, making sure the Are you around somewhere around the processor? Are you a processor? Are you around aggregation? Is your business looking at aggregation and packaging and then passing it on to the wholesaler or passing it on to the others in the market? Or are you directly selling either to the business or to the customer directly? Who is your customer? Please determine, tell us, is it 1 or 2 or 3? I would be extremely happy if all the 168 or more. I don't understand. Somebody, Navneet Kumar said, cannot participate in the poll. Is the poll out, you?
1 second, sir. I'm just creating.
Okay.
For the
Sure.
benefit of all the participants, I've just given A, B, C, 3 options. A, B, C. So the poll is open, sir.
Wonderful.
The poll is open for everybody.
Wonderful. Yeah. Which of the following is more relevant to you? Yeah. Please ignore the grammar or the spellings here. Where are you? Which is more relevant? Is your enterprise built around the first one or the second one or the third one? Please tick just one, whichever is the dominant one. Some of you may be working at both second and the third one, but still I would encourage you to figure out the dominant part of your business and then give us A, B, or C. We've got about 45 seconds to go.
Sir, we have close to 100 responses already, sir.
Fabulous, fabulous. Can we wait for 150 and then I'm sure the others are also.
I doubt, sir. We'll go by time probably, sir. Responses we do not know. Let's give them probably 100 seconds more and then we start discussing.
Sure, I'm with you on that. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I request all the participants, please, next probably 1.5 minutes or so, we try to complete the poll. The poll is about to know at what stage of your business you are in, so that we can infer some logic
Insight
through this
for our discussion.
poll.
Yeah, insight for our discussion. Yeah.
So meanwhile, as we complete one quick question, because you are also entrepreneur along with your developmental sector experience, guided multiple startups.
Shoot.
One quick question on behalf of every startup, sir. So what do you think is the percentage of your total cost should go towards your marketing or marketing related expenditure?
What percentage of your go-to-market budget go to actual marketing?
Yes, marketing, or it can be advertising, promoting any. Let's say I have a 100 rupees product with a 50% margin. So I should have a figure which I can send. We can spend towards marketing so that I can make my product more saleable.
So how much is what ratio you are saying?
Yes, sir.
I would look at about initially a good 35% initially. Don't look for margins here. You have to make money from day one as much as far as possible. You have to start making money, even if it is 100 rupees on your day one. It's important. However, your marketing spend, the campaign spend, needs to be about 35% in the beginning as you move forward.
Noted, sir.
In the initial
Thank
phase.
you, sir. I think
and most of us, we fail to allocate that kind of a resource by ignoring, by believing, and by affiliating ourselves too closely with our heart that our product or our service is so great, so useful, so valuable to the customer that the customer will anyway come. And we fail we fail in our assessment day. It's extremely important to communicate to our prospective customers who we are, what our product or what our service is, and to be able to do that, the marketing campaign, the marketing spend needs to communicate that. I'm not even talking about the relevant way of doing it, the correct way of doing it, the quality way of doing it, but it's important for you to figure out a reasonably high chunk of about 35% is what I would look at.
Yes, sir. The poll is closed, sir.
Yeah, wonderful.
We have a response here. I'm going to share the poll result with everybody so that they will also know.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So we have total out of 178, we have received 116 responses, sir.
Fabulous.
Out of which majority went towards A, 56 out of which is close to 42%, is little more than 40% towards not started. They're still at a farm level. So 22 of them, which is close to around 17-18% who completed the poll, is towards at a processor level. And it is good to hear that close to 38 people out of this 116 were filled is already at a customer level, sir.
Yeah, that's a fabulous percentage. I'm quite surprised with the first one. Close to 40-45% of our participants are working around the farmers level, farm level. It shows the commitment of our startups and the potential this particular segment in the entire value chain has, and I'm really happy about it. Yeah. To go back to answer to some of our other friends who talked about, yes, sir, we are working on all three. Yeah, correct. I have explained that if some of you are working at both 2 levels or 3 levels, you will have to give your dominant position. You have to step onto one and then say, I'm here. It cannot help yourself. It doesn't matter with help. It helps me in my, reflecting upon your answer, but it helps you a great deal because you are the one who is investing money, your resource and your time and your energy and your life. So you will have to figure out where you stand at this point of time. If you position yourself both the feet at 2 platforms and then say you would like to provide a balanced, like work and personal life balance, it doesn't help that way. You have to bend one side or the other. It's extremely important because that will determine how much money you're putting into that particular area, how much energy and how much resources, how much of your heart and mind and how much of your leveraging ability will go into that. So it's extremely important for you to figure out. That's the reason I have asked you people to look at those 6 arrows. The first 2 primary and the next 4 most important, because if you don't figure out who your primary customer is, you'll be confused. If you're saying I'm at both 2 and 3, or I'm at both 1 and 2 and 3, I'm sorry, you won't be a decent businessman because you don't know where your feet is, where you want to locate yourself. Your lens will be a little confusing because you are trying to look at all 3. I hope you're not an NGO there. I hope you're also not bringing in a social objective into your business there. If you do have a social objective, hive it off and then call it as a charitable organization or a foundation and do the business differently, do the social business differently. But if you are looking at building an enterprise, you will have to figure out yourself. And like the way some of our majority of our friends talked about, very clearly they said 56 of them have very clearly said, about 45% of them said very clearly, we are at the farm level. I'm happy about these people because these startup champions have been able to figure out who their primary customers are. I don't even have to ask them the second question because these primary customers are, maybe if I were to, if I had another couple of hours time, I would have gone a little deeper into some of their questions and then even possibly respond to those questions also. But I'm reasonably satisfied here because most of the participants have figured out where they stand, which also means you have figured out who your customer is. You have also figured out, the moment you have determined who your customer is, you have also figured out, in all probability, you have figured out a correct and reasonably selling value proposition, saleable value proposition. That's an important piece here. The moment you have figured out your revenue window, it's essential for you to keep building on a daily basis, one-on-one, week-on-week basis, month-on-month basis. And that's possible only if your focus, if your trust is very clearly on your client, your customer, which means you know who your customers are. You're not confused there. If you're a little confused, if any of the participants here, if by any chance out of 70 plus about 45, if I remove about say 10 or 15 faculty members from Manage and its associated academic organizations who are all faculty members, I would like to believe they're all faculty or teachers or researchers. The remaining, if they are in the business and they have not figured out who their customer is, please come back and request Professor Sharavanan and our friends Yuvraj and other friends in Manage, request for a session focusing on that. That question needed to be answered. What's your value proposition? Request for that particular session, go back on that particular session, figure out where you stand, figure out who your customer is, figure out those 6 arrows, and then determine what's your the remaining stages of your business. Otherwise, you are going to fail. Let me tell you that. Unless you are a researcher, unless you are a teacher, you have no business getting into a business across these, because you won't be able to determine your several of the next steps here. Okay. And can I now move on to the 5th slide? Unless any of our friends have any questions here. It's important for us to figure out where we stand at this point of time in the entire value chain and ask a right question and figure out what are our options, and every stage of your product development to go to the market. In between these 2 stages, you have opportunities to sell your product or service, even if it is fully not ready, because the input that the customer is going to give you will be valuable, I would say invaluable, in providing you greater insights to the next stages. Please go to the next stage. Next slide, please. Kaushik. Yeah. When I'm talking about the true attributes of your target customer, I'm actually talking about unearthing right opportunities for revenue windows, please. You will start earning from each of those attributes. Because I would like to believe the solution that you have provided, you have developed, you have researched and built upon, does have several attributes which can respond to the problem attributes. That's the reason you are there in the business. That's the reason you are building this particular enterprise. Please remember, I'm putting it here. There is a problem tree and there are 5 or 50 attributes. You don't have to look at 50, but at least about 10 attributes of problem tree. Each of the branch reflecting upon one problem, sub-problem, and build a tree with solutions, a solution tree. Each of the solution attribute would respond to the appropriate problem. That is also an opportunity. Please remember, that is also an opportunity to sell your service or a product. That's an opportunity. Deepen your understanding of that. You are building your an opportunity to make money there. And the earliest, I'm saying at the earliest, don't ignore that. Even if it means small amounts of revenue, they are all important because you're building brick by brick. You're building your customers here. You're acquiring your customer brick by brick. Please remember that. Yeah. Can we go to the next slide, please? And the reason I don't want to use the market, but I only want to use the customer is market is too vague. It doesn't tell you, it doesn't help you understand and build a right approach for building a revenue window here. That's the reason I'm using the customer, the client. We talked about it. Depending on your value chain, where you stand, determine your immediate goal. Achieve them, fail, achieving those, partially achieve those goals. Based upon those insights, move to the next level. Again, build your immediate goal. Keep tweaking your goals on a daily and on a weekly basis. And that's exactly what I'm doing as an entrepreneur. Please remember, on a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly basis, this is how you are able to tweak your enterprise. And be very focused on your value chain, wherever you are at this point of time. And the way you are able to do that is by correctly judging And that can happen by taking feedback from people around. And you won't believe, I keep sharing it with you, Raj, on and off. I keep sharing it with few of my friends around who are part of my little informal ecosystem. And that helps you because they'll be able to give you lot of feedback and lot of insights and lot of linkages and lot of the fraternity is also brought together. These are your initial building blocks of customers. This particular foundation will help you to build the second layer. Please remember that. So correctly judging where you are now becomes most critical because that will help you set your goals correctly, reasonably correctly. Let me use that here. Yeah. Can we go to the next slide, please? Based on this, you're able to, instead of, as one of our friends were talking about, instead of theoretical focus, we're talking about theoretical, I'm using the word here even for a business plan. Most of our business plans can be extremely fancy, can be extremely nice and beautiful, but there are too many elements for us to deal with. You will lose sight of. So the focus becomes important. Keep your focus, keeping 90% of your practical aspects of your enterprise, not the theoretical aspects, the practical aspects of your enterprise today, here and now. Please put a little caption on your slide and then say here and now. Where are you now? What is your current focus? Is your goal realistic? Is your goal specific? Is your goal measurable? To the extent of a week, if you have kept a goal for a week, is it specifically measurable and you can evaluate it at the end of the week? Which also means you're assessing it, you're measuring it on a daily basis. If you're making sure the numbers are going into your spreadsheet on a daily basis at the end of the week, you will know where you stand. Instead of what ought to be your focus, please figure out what is your current focus. Yeah. Can we go to the next slide, Kaushik? Yeah. So given the opportunity, I tried, it's what time I have, Yuvraj? How much more time I have? I have actually completed my presentation. I might as well take one or two questions if I do have time. Otherwise, I can conclude.
We can conclude here for some time, and questions we will take up, sir, at the end. Will that
At
be
the end
fine,
of the
sir?
session. Yeah, no issue at all. You have the third resource person already, Sagar?
Right. Yes.
Wonderful. All the best for the next session. Yeah. Thank you, Sagar. Thank you, Yuvraj and Kaushik. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your presentation and for highlighting the need to determine the customer base, figuring out one's primary customer and secondary customer, the need of goal setting and the need to tweak goals as and when time passes. And now I would request the third speaker for the day, Mr. Dhavalki Popat, to share his presentation and take the session forward.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah. Audio video is good. We can go ahead.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dhaval and I'm representing JDP Superfoods. We are into manufacturing and trading of naturally fortified foods and commodities via B2B route. So basically our major crops, what we focus is on pulses, hibiscus, turmeric and ragi. Hello.
You can go ahead.
So can we start the presentation? If I've
Sure, sir.
already
I'll
sent
share.
it to.
You can
Yeah.
continue. So meanwhile, I'll share it.
Yeah. So I could not agree more with the host speakers here, where they have given you the importance of how important is to understand your customer needs, how important is to figure out what is your unfair advantage. Many a times it so happens with us when we start our journey that we are really not sure about what exactly is our strength. Because we don't know about the entire supply chain, how the market works, what is the average revenue every business do in that particular segment, how is the competition doing, and what are exactly, who are our direct competition, who are our indirect competition, how the market is evolving. Because this is all, it comes with the time, but I may ask everyone to really figure out on what exactly is the problem you're solving, and whom for you solving that. And in the beginning, if you are focusing on too many problems and too many solutions, you feel that yes, I can actually help farmers, I can actually help customers, I can be like the best the middle. I mean, I can be like best for both the worlds. I think the resources you require for that are not in your, I mean, you can't actually help yourself in that situation. You find stuck somewhere in that particular vicious cycle where you are not able to scale. Why I'm telling you all this is because when we started in 2017, we started with a single product, which was sprouted ragi cookie. So with this cookie, we followed a traditional distribution strategy. And when we went to the market, we felt that this product was certainly not enough to get that average ARPU. We were not able to increase our ARPU. So then we thought, okay, let's bring the Bangalore culture, the millet culture in Nagpur. I basically started my business in Nagpur. So when we started marketing about millets, nobody was, in 2017, this was not I mean, Ragi was not doing much arounds in our territory. So I felt let's open a cafe. Let's open a cafe like what I've seen in Bangalore, a proper meal proposition, like two proper, I mean, a proper food joint where we can talk about millets. They can taste the delicacies of the millet, and uh, they will. I mean, the people will, and then will start more branches, and then people will know about the millet culture and everything. And then we'll put the entire our product portfolio in the cafe so that people can enjoy the products. They can take that product home, and also we can have a decent income from the cafe. So the plan was great, everything was good, and up to 2020 we continued for two years. We went to. I mean, the problem what I'm trying to tell you is we were into two things. We were also into a hotel chain. We were managing hotels. We were having three outlets, and we were also making products. Both were doing enough in a way where we were only able to, manage our expenses. So we were not paying us to what we were paying in our jobs, but we were doing decently good. But when the COVID hit, we didn't had any corpus amount with us. We didn't save anything, and the rents for the hotels and the infrastructure what we have built was all on what do you say, a commission basis. So we were hit so hard. We were hit so hard. I can't tell you the situation. I had a zero account balance in March 21 because the rents, the salaries, and I was like totally bankrupt after after COVID hit, because we need to give the salaries, we need to give the rents, and it was like a worst scenario I can ever think of. So I was actually thinking that what I have done in last 2 years, it is really, I mean, it gave me a hard face to the reality that I was not actually prepared for the worst case. Okay, I was managing my expenses when the revenue was there, but I didn't had the proper distribution strategy in place. I didn't had the proper marketing strategy in place. I didn't had anything in place. That's why I was able to manage the expenses. I was not saving anything. I was not earning any money. And do whatever you want to do. Just remember one thing: you are into the business of making money, nothing else. And if you are not earning money even after 1 year or 2 years, stop that activity. Figure out something else. Don't fool yourself. And at that time, all these lectures, all these seminars, and these are all great, sometimes it gives you a different perspective about your business. Sometimes you figure out, okay, I'm really not competent enough to be in that market. The market is too deep. The market is too broad. How is your market? And the best, the survey, and now to address. Let's go a deeper where I can give you uh, more understanding of how my business was turned around after that failure in March. So by June, I guess, we received a funding from Manage. It was like a boon in disguise. And by that time, I again raised a friends and family round, and we infused some capital in the system, and I was ready with some capital in order to uh, run around the wholesale part of our business. Initially, our entire focus was on direct to consumer basis. We were selling it on Amazon, we were selling it on cafes, and it was more of a direct to consumer basis. But because of the COVID, I had to move back to my hometown, and and all that gave me a chance to reorganize what I can do with the existing products I have. So out of this, 42% of the people are in the farm level. I mean, they are having any product or service with the farmers or at the farm level. 12% are in the processing, and 28% are in the B2B, B2C. I would like to ask, I would like to raise some questions so that you can think about it. You can uh, introspect your business idea. You can figure out where I can go wrong, or just I want to ask this 2-3 basic questions, which are: do you exactly know how your market works? I mean, right from whenever you talk about farmer, a farmer actually takes services from multiple sectors, whether be it from input sector, whether be it from preparing your land, whether it's the post-harvest management system, whether it is marketing their produce. So there are a lot of parties involved. There are banks which are also involved. There is government involved. So do you exactly know how the system works? What are the basic margins? Who has that advantage in the situation where the price fluctuation? Because as we all are agripreneurs here, we must know the challenges in our system. We know every year the prices fluctuates, the commodity prices fluctuates. So do we exactly know how it is with the manufacturer, how it is with the end user, how the price fluctuates for a farmer, what is his return on investment, what are his costs, and how much can anyone in the group tell me that what is the expense of per acre, what is the cost borne by the farmer for per acre of land? Can anyone give me any rough number? Hello?
Participants can keep their
Our
questions.
participants will not be directly interacting.
Can anyone put on chat that what do they think that what is the cost by the farmer per acre per season? Can anyone write in the group or in a chat that what do they feel like? What is the per acre expense? You be in any part of the country, it is more of in a particular range. Can anyone give that number?
30,000 from Rakesh Gadda.
We are receiving some responses.
I'm saying per season, like if in the Kharif season, if I belong from Maharashtra, and I know what are the major crops here. We also deal in MP, we also deal in Karnataka. So what do you think is the average cost borne by the farmer? And it is exactly 20,000. It is roughly around 15 to 25,000, and most of the farmers in India, which are into common commodities like pulses, oil seeds, and which are like major items for us. I'm not talking about sugarcane. I'm not talking about corn, and I'm only talking about the commodities like wheat, like rice, like soya bean, pulses. They are roughly around 15 to 25,000 rupees. So that's why there is a situation where people are not comfortable when they get like a double. Suppose if you talk about soya bean, and it's like 2,000, 20,000 rupees where they get 7 quintals of soya bean. So I'll give you a case study for soya bean. For 20,000 rupees, they only get the output of 7 quintals to 10 quintals. Now for the 7 quintals to 10 quintals, if the market price is 4,000, so it is only 8,000 rupees gross profit for them. So you have not considered the petrol, you have not considered his physical labor. This is all the farm cost. So what is his average income per season? It's just 8,000 rupees per acre. And when he sells it to the open market, how many opportunities does he have? He only has the APMC. He can directly go to APMC or some other NAFED organized scheme where they will be doing, or any other cooperative society who will be purchasing all this commodities from the farmer with whatsoever tie-up they have. So what I am really wanting you, all the participants, to understand is the supply chain. How is that grain? How is that grain grown right from the farm, and how does it move to the customer? So right now, the number of players involved, right now, the number of margins involved, when you understand there are like very meager margins. Everybody in the trade has a profit margin less than 5%. We actually give bad. I mean, there is a bad reputation for middlemen. There is a bad reputation for everyone in that supply chain. That there are a lot of middlemen, but nobody understands the crux of how the supply chain works. And what is the solution you want to? What problem are you solving? Then everybody thinks of direct to consumer. Direct to consumer. Let's create a product. Let's get it from the farmer, and then we'll directly sell to manufacturer. Manufacturer is not going to entertain you because you don't have the capacity. If a manufacturer requires every day one truck, which is like 15 to 25 tons, can you give that? Do you have that much amount of capacity to do it? A small entrepreneur cannot. Then you focus on okay, let's create something which we can directly do with like groups. If I talk about the input side, you talk about FPOs, you talk about farmer groups, you talk about Atma, where you say that we'll promote our products through KVK and where there are like 1,000 farmers, 500 farmers involved. But are we really sure of how are we going to take it from there? And if you have served that 1,000 farmers right, how are you going to scale it up? And is it really the case that your product or your service is really differentiated one that it can scale? And the VC's perspective, everybody who is into the business is for making money, is for making good returns on his investment. So you have to have the gaps. And if you are focused on being another part of the system, nobody can help you. You can just be like another part of the system who is not going to scale. So that unfair advantage is like the most important element in your business. So can we go on the first slide? I'll get back to the presentation, and I want to go deep on what can be the unique strategy. Can we go on the first slide, Kaushik? The second slide. Yeah, the objective, advantage. Hello.
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So what is the scope? What is the objective? What is the advantage? You have to figure out first what is that you are doing right. What is the objective? Why are you doing? And what advantage you want to take it from? What advantage do you have in that particular segment? And what is the scope? So right now, when we say that we are into marketing, manufacturing, and trading of naturally fortified foods and commodity via B2B route, we talk about whosoever is into buying directly from farmers, we deal with him. So we get a network. We access their network. We talk with farmer producer companies. We talk with commodity companies like Origo Trading, Agri Bazaar, Crow Farm, Bija. So we deal with them. Easy Krishi is like one of our managed incubated startup. We also deal with them. It is one of our good account, key account. So what they have a direct network of farmers. So we directly use their expertise to get that crop from them, directly from the farmer. And then we have a production facility of 2 tons per day. So we then process it here. or when we have a bigger order, we use the local infrastructure, which is like a nearby infrastructure, who has same processing capabilities, who can actually help us in processing the same commodity. And then we only focus on export-oriented units and rural distribution companies. So what do we mean? We focus on companies who are exporting their produce from one country to another country. And you all will be amazed with how many companies doing exports and what is their business model like. There are a lot of companies in US and Dubai who wants what first, I mean, we have an assumption, everyone has an assumption that exporting is hard. We need to have a letter of intent, we need to have a LC, we need to have a lot of things. If our container is if our container is rejected at the port, and then our entire money is lost, and all those assumptions we have. But you all will be amazed that Mumbai, Nasik, Gujarat, Ahmedabad, Surat, this cities have a lot of players who are well established. Like they are doing from ages. You can supply to them. You can be their vendor. And there are a lot of things which they are doing differently. In India, like we see that there is a DMart who is selling cheap. So in US, in Walmart, there are many other players who are selling commodities. They just want good quality of the commodity, very properly neat, clean, fumigated, and properly cleaned in the labels. And they don't require organic certifications. You have an ISO certification, that is enough. So there are a lot of business ideas which you can explore in the segment by being a part of the system where you feel that there is a value which can be added. And see, arbitraging everybody do in the farming business. There are management companies who invest in such type of similar companies. When see, government has a very laser focus on the prices. Everybody wants to keep the price there because government can't let the prices inflate to any number. They have to control the prices. So you have to understand the basics of the trade, how this commodity actually trades, or when this commodity goes from one place to another, what is the premium a manufacturer charge, a reseller charge, a marketeer charge, a brand charge, and how much is the premium in that cost. When you say that soybean oil is now trading at 150 rupees, and the processing and the raw pulse or the raw oil seed which has been processed from the farmer is like 700. So there is a 100% markup. So in this 100% markup, who is getting what? So you have to be very clear about it. That in this segment, I am going to get this much, and then you have to innovate around those services. Okay, I can do this thing and that thing very efficiently so that I can earn this much amount of profit. And target customer. Everybody says target customers. Everybody says target customer. The reason behind that is because you will never know the problem of. You will never know what problem you're addressing unless and until you know who is your customer. When you give him a service, when you give him a product, it would be in a much. You would be in a much better state to understand. Okay, this is what I'm trying to solve. Now, moving ahead, can we move to next slide? So, see, there are this subheadings when I talk about finance, when I talk about product management, when I talk about marketing service, when I talk about procurement, sales, distribution. I've already forwarded this slide. Please forward it to everyone and write your own unique strategy. What exactly you want to do with your business, and about sales and distribution and marketing service. It is going to be your independent what exactly service you want to offer. If you are into product marketing, you have to figure out, okay, is it the digital route which I want to take, or is it the distribution which route I want to take? Do I have any distributor connections with me who can help me to bring it to big box retailers or to the local what do you say, local stores, local kirana stores? So what exactly your distribution, if somebody is into a similar business of mine, so he has to focus on what exactly is the marketing budget he wants. And see, it is always the case, 30%, 35%, everybody spend 30-35%, but you need to understand what is your average customer acquisition cost. And you need to figure out this by selling. You can't figure out this by just writing it on paper. Okay, for distribution, I have to create a campaign like this, and then the campaign will cost me this much. No, just do a ad of 100 rupees. Figure out how many inquiries are you getting, and register yourself on all the portals wherever you feel that your product is going to sell. Figure out that, okay, this is the portal which is working for me. LinkedIn is also a very good portal right now. It is like doing wonders for the companies who are into B2B business. IndiaMart was always there. Trade India is there. Yellow Pages is there. So what portal is working for you? You need to figure that out. And then going deep into that, call yourself, call your potential buyers, understand their requirement, understand how you can grow your sales, and figure out, and is that really solving their problem? And when you talk to the customers, you get to know, okay, yeah, this is the product which this is the market which I'm in, and this is the services which I'm giving to the customers via my product, and yes, this is working. Because the sales is the ultimate truth. It is the acid test. When sales are there, everybody is happy. Your investors are happy, and then you need to understand, okay, now I've got sales. Now is it scalable? And in order to scale, you need to figure out the business. Okay, I'm not in just making biscuits. I'm not just making driving hotels. I'm into a segment where lot of people have their own. What do you say? It's a crowded market. Everybody has their own value proposition. But okay, this is what my value proposition is, and this is how I can scale. So all these unique strategies on, and financing is also a very don't put your money, get loan, try to go for grants, try to go, and when you pitch, you understand, okay, there are so many players doing the same thing. But yes, I have this differentiated, and it is not always the patent. You should not be very much like there should be not only one answer that I have a patent. What are you going to with that patent? Are you go for a licensing deal? Are you going for something of your own? How are you going to market it? Because the compliance cost is huge in this country. If you are into fertilizer business, I should not be the one telling you that how much is the compliance cost. The testing, the getting it in the market, the inventory cycle, and this is like it burns a lot of money. Certification process. Even if you are into the food business, the compliance costs are huge. The lab cost, the testing cost, every time you have to maintain the shelf life, the batch and everything. So do you want a co-packer? Do you want something who want to do the manufacturing part for you, and you just want to focus on trading, you want to just focus on marketing? Figure out. If you're into processing, go for all the standards, like 12% or 12 to 15% we're into the processing of things. Figure out what standard works in your industry, how much is the market for that. Just figure out your local, where you are. I mean, let's say you are in some part of Maharashtra, or you are in some part of Karnataka, or you are in some part of Telangana. Figure out how much that commodity sells in that market. Is that market belongs there, or is it somewhere else? And it does not make sense when you say that I'm bringing this new product which nobody has heard before, and I'm going to market, produce, sell, pack, everything I'm going to do here. It doesn't make sense, because you're not going to scale, because you need to have multiple ads with you, and it's not easy. Or else you should have a good amount of corpus with you, where you don't care if it gets burned. Human resources. I mean, I can actually spend much time on this human resource part, because human resources are everything. Figure out who can help you a lot. Figure out your team first. I mean, you can't do it alone. Statistics says, or any number you take, you have to have your team. Make him, give him, figure out how are you going to pay him out, figure out, because in the beginning, you're not going to make a revenue. So how are you going to build a team, a successful team, a winning combination? Because you are not going to be able to do it alone. So a perfect team will definitely, a good team will definitely help you to move faster. So how are you going to recruit? How and take help from fellow entrepreneurs, and you can have like when you are connected to a network like Manage or any network, BNIs or TI, you figure out there are a lot of people who have other services related to you. You can actually tie up with them, and that will help you to reduce your manpower cost, reduce your what do you say, whatever burning rate you have in order to run the business and help you grow. So these are so small things. These are so many small things which we don't pay attention to in the beginning. We are only more focused on this product, but we never know how the market works. My product is great. My product is patented. My product is vegan. My product is 100% all the greatness in the product. But what about the customer? What about the market? What is the average margin? What is your supply chain? What is the logistic cost? What is the shelf life? Have you spent enough attention to it? And at most of the times there is an answer as a no. Because we have somebody has a working experience in a product management company, or somebody has an operational experience. They figure out, okay, I'll make this product which I feel that this can be do wonders to the society. So these are some mistakes where we spend most of the time in the beginning, and I have learned the hard way. And it was really frustrating for me that I was in such a bad phase. So I would recommend everyone, and just FYI, now I'm in a very good financial position. I'm doing close to around 10 to 15 lakh rupees per month business, and we are doing very good right now. So we need, sometimes the failure hit you so hard, you retrospect, you introspect, and you come out with something which really works for you. So so I recommend all the fellow entrepreneurs to think about what is your unique strategy. And it's not about Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Nobody can tell you that, okay, follow this traditional business route, you will be able to sell hack. I mean, you'll be spend more on budget, you will be selling. Okay, you can definitely gain some traction, but then what? Once you have utilized that potential of that platform, after that, there are only 4,000 sellers in Amazon who are doing roughly more than a crore business. In a small town, a population 10 lakh, hundreds of there would be like 50 or 100 people who will be doing more than crore. So like 4 or 5 villages, 4 or 5 towns, if you calculate that, 4,000 figure will be there. So so everybody can't make it big, and the main reason for that is they don't have the clarity of what exactly they want to do with the business. And again and again, I want to highlight, figure out how your business works, or how the market works in the segment you are. Figure out who are the players involved, what are their margins, how they operate, and go there, understand, and do that for some time if you want to get the taste of what exactly is what it is be like. And when you are in the beginning stage, I think you should volunteer them. Okay, I want to be helping you for your business, just to understand how your business works. Because when you don't understand that business, how are you going to give the solution for that, and how are you going to make that model better? So this is a Portal 5 forces which we learned in Thai Nurture, a boot camp which they do. And I thought I think this is very important. What is the threat of new inventory? What is the bargaining power of your customer? What are the substitutes? What are the bargaining powers of your suppliers? How is your rivalry among the existing competitors? You should figure out all this. And that's why I've given my case study, go through it, understand it. And if you have any questions, get back to me. And thank you. I think I've tried to make my point, and this is what my product portfolio looks like. I've shared in that presentation the link. You can directly go to and see the product portfolio I have. So thank you. Anything else which anyone would like to ask? Or should I answer?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your presentation. The floor is now open for Q&A, and I request all the participants to put forth their question one by one.
Participants can raise their hands or keep it in the chat box so that we can unmute them.
Couple of people have raised their hands.
Hello, sir. Sohan here, and my question is for Ravichandra Raju, sir. So, should we spend marketing cost on acquiring good farmer for our to source good produce?
Yeah. Can you repeat your question? Hello?
My question is that should we spend?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sohan here. So, should we spend marketing cost on acquiring good farmer to get good quality of produce?
I'm sorry. I'm not sure whether I understood your question correctly, please.
Like we always spend our marketing expenditure to get the customers. So I am asking that to procure good quality of whatever we want, like raw material. So should we spend our marketing expenditure on?
Okay. Let me rephrase what you just stated. Is the farmer who is supplying to you, is he your customer or is he your supplier? I understand indirectly even a supplier could be your notional customer, but we are not referring to notional customers here. We are referring to customers by definition who actually pay for a service or a product.
Sir, Yuvraj here. I think what I inferred was I would rather put on increasing product quality by increasing my quality raw material input. That's what I inferred.
Yes, sir.
That's what. So what Sohan's point is, we do agree with marketing is important. However, I would rather put money on increasing product quality than putting my more money on marketing.
Yeah, that is actually, I appreciate your intervention there, Yuvraj. However, that is a non-negotiable thing. Quality of your product will have to be primary to anything else and everything else, which means, without a quality product, even if you were to touch the market, it's not going to be sustainable, right?
Yeah.
So, these two are completely, independent of each other. Your focus on quality product is something else. But if we are talking about marketing cost per se, and I comprehended as if he's referring to farmers as suppliers.
Yes, sir. Farmers as suppliers.
Yeah, if they are your suppliers, that is not necessarily your marketing cost there. It's actually your overall production cost. Procurement is part of your production, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So put that head under
So, sir,
procurement and production rather than marketing.
So as the question asked by Yavraju sir, that if my production cost is rupees 50 and I am selling this product at rupees 100, so 35% should be the marketing cost at initially. So, so afterwards, like when we need to reduce that cost, will you please describe the life cycle of the product or whatever thing?
Yuvraj, go on. That's for you.
Sorry, can you please repeat? I could not hear properly.
Sir, you asked that how much marketing cost like we should incur. So initially, Ravi sir told that 30% should be the marketing cost. So I'm asking that, sir, when we need to reduce the cost or we need to add on the cost, marketing cost.
Yes, I understand. I understand. See, it's about your marketing strategy or the numbers you have kept for your startup, Sohan. So what is that which gives you probably an operational break-even? Are you looking for a profit margin? Are you looking at, let's say, a monthly 1 lakh sales, monthly 10 lakh sales, or till 100 at the customer achieved? So depending upon type of your business, so I'll give a very simple example. So on here, if you go to Swiggy, there will be multiple discount options will be there for up to 40%, up to 50%, up to 60%. But if you keep ordering from the same restaurant, after certain time, if you observe that you are not getting the same or similar discount, because that's how the amount of money they spend on a customer acquisition. So whatever the marketing cost or discounts they are giving, it goes under customer acquisition cost. Similarly, you should have your own strategy where you are stopping your marketing spend or discounts, whatever you are giving. I hope you got the point.
So I'm asking that, is there any thumb rule for the marketing spend, or we need to get it by experience?
No. It's not thumb rule per se. So what Dr. Raju suggested was that 30% is when you start, you just got into the market. There is no, see, thumb rule would be different from industry to industry. It can be 20%, 30%, depending upon type of marketing you are doing. Who is your customer? Is it B2B or B2C? And is it repetitive in nature, or every time you need to acquire a customer by spending money? There are multiple options. I mean, multiple factors are there to determine that. There will not be any thumb rules per se. I would probably request IR sir if he is there to intervene, sir. IR sir.
Yeah, tell me.
IR sir, the participant is asking, is there any thumb rule for how much should go into the marketing expenditure?
No, not at all. No thumb rule. It all depends. I was been listening attentively to this. I wish there was some sort of a thumb rule, but no, it all depends on what product, your competition, what is your marketing objective. But as Dr. Raju said, it would be nice to start off with some. And then as you go into the business in the deep end, you yourself will realize whether that 20 or 30% is enough or more. And this goes on to what all of us been talking about. Who is your target customer? And I strongly advise all of us today, please target your customers and segment your customer. Then you will know, okay, farmer, for example, we are all in the farming business. We are talking about farmers. Now, your product, is it going to a small and marginal farmer? Is it going to which farmer? You segment the farmer, then you will know how to give my message to that farmer. Would it be through what? And ideally in a farming business, seeing is believing. So you have to do demos. You have to do demos, take up, like for example, I'll give you my own example. Long back when I was in Chambal and we started a project on potato seed using greenhouse technology. This was an Australian technology, and I, as the MD, was in charge of putting the whole plant. I ran as an entrepreneur, if you understand what it is. Now, through greenhouse, we came out with beautiful small potatoes the size of a peanut. Now, these potatoes we harvested, put it into cold storage, and in the next season, October, November, I had to plant it in the field. Now, none of the farmers in Punjab were willing to touch. They say, Iyer sahab, ye to bahut chota beej hai, ugega nahi, kuch nahi hoga. So what do? We took on lease 5 acres on corporate farming. We had our own agronomist. We developed our own systems and we showed that it can be done. So marketing need not be Facebook or Instagram. It is seeing is believing in the farming community. You show it to them. And I'll tell you one thing, once a farmer trusts you and he sees that, yes, what you're trying to tell is the right thing, he will just 100% be with you. So to cut a long story short, there are no thumb rule as such. Start with what you can afford. Start with what is your objective. And then as you go deeper into your business, you can either, you yourself will find various innovative ways of marketing. Okay, so this is the ultimate way. In farmers and farming will not be attracted by all this advertisement and TV and commercial. That is just waste of money if you ask me into the farming community. Go there, do a demo, be there in the farm. What I famously call barefoot marketing. Unless you do that, the farmer will not get your trust. I hope I'm able to answer something.
Yes, sir. I got it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. So I would request Dr. Sagar Deshmukh to give a closing remarks to this.
Before that, Yuvraj, a lot of people
Yes,
I've been seeing on the chat, they want specific information about certain things. I would request all such friends of mine, please send me an email. My contact details are shared by Manage, and whatever possible, I can help you out. There was one gentleman who wanted the details of the mobile Jaggery unit. Well, certainly, he's in a very premature state. Unless I discuss with the particular entrepreneur, then I'll be able to share. But most welcome. Your emails are most welcome, and I'll try and help you out to the best of my ability.
Yes, sir. Precisely, we have already given all 3 speakers mail IDs with the participants. Mr. Dhaval, Iyer sir, and Dr. Raju's numbers are there. Mail IDs are there. Please write to them. If it's required, they'll probably take your number and to take it forward.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
This is Sagar here, sir. Thank you for being part of this program. Today we got several different perspectives from the experts we had today. So Iyer sir, Raju sir, and Mr. Dhaval, they come up with a varied experience in their professional life as well as personal one, wherein the diversified areas of expertise, wherein they deal with the own entrepreneurship, intrapreneurship, or entrepreneurial ventures which they have into the currently doing the. So that is accompanied with a lot of experiences, personal experiences, and the experiences from the nearby startups or the startups where they have seen or mentored also. So these experiences comes up with certain situations, and then the strategies get formulated and then further strengthened up with similar or relevant experiences. So generally we see that some or other experts may not have the precisely same opinion with the other one. However, we see that based on the number of experiences, number of situations dealt, there is something which goes as a commonality, which goes in common. So these rules of thumbs, there are certain specific strategies which will definitely work out. In general, in business, there is nothing which works precisely in a similar fashion. There are like certain situations which are most likely to happen based on certain experiences, uh, if we do certain things in a certain way, then it's most likely that we will succeed. These are certain things which we need to understand. So more understanding of the situations and more understanding of the concepts and experiences will enlighten us to become more successful. So chances of success will increase. So today we have got several perspectives in a similar way, wherein all the three experts have shared their experiences, shared the thought processes, and provoked us to think further. So that is what is the core purpose of having these sensitization sessions through the webinar series. So I, on behalf of Manage and the Manage team, thankful to the experts for being with us. We are also thankful to the participants who are continuously being the part of the program. We look forward to your continuous engagement in the endeavors coming soon. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Dr. Sagar, and all the best to all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
We will be
everyone.
meeting again in the next Saturday.
Sure.